Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, automotive enthusiast friends from every continent on this round planet we call Earth. It's happened once again. You've tuned in for yet another...
Kevin, it's a real special one today. We have a centennial episode of V8 Radio.
How did I know that was going to be the word?
How about that? It's like we're in sync with one another.
Well, it took long enough. This is V8 Radio. I'm your host, Kevin Ostie, joined as always by our esteemed co-host, Mr. Mike Cuball Clark. And today we've got a very special guest on this very special centennial episode, none other than the lovely and talented operations manager of the V8 Speed and Resto Shop, Kelly Ostie.
Hi, guys. Thanks for having me on again.
Right on, Kelly. Thanks for being here again.
You're welcome. By popular demand.
I don't know about that part.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, it is a special show. It's a big day all the way around.
Yeah, it's Ostie's birthday.
Oh, boy.
How about that? The birthday boy.
Yay, Ostie.
Yay.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what, you get kind of a warm and fuzzy when you get some of our loyal listeners who gave shout outs on our Facebook page saying happy birthday, which was cool.
Yeah, that was cool.
And I got some birthday messages from people in, I can't even tell you how many countries.
Wow.
Ecuador, Brazil, South Africa, Australia, New Zealand, Canada, of course the U.S., Germany, Sweden, Norway. Wow. I mean, it was nuts.
Kevin Ostie, international man of mystery.
Kevin Ostie accepts all friend requests on Facebook. So if you've tuned into this show in the past, which you had at least 99 opportunities.
Right.
Yeah. You know that we start every episode with an automotive-esque trivia question. And at the end of the show, we reveal the answer. So we keep everybody in dangling suspense. So, Mr. Cuball, have you prepared a trivia question? Because I was told not to make Kelly go first.
Oh, okay. Well, in that case, absolutely. Okay, Kevin and Kelly and listener. Back in the day, the Pontiac Grand Prix had a couple of models called the SJ, the LJ, and simply the Model J. What did the J stand for? Don't everyone jump in at once.
Yeah, right. Wow, that's a great question. Because I know, there's who talks about Grand Prix from that era, right?
I know. Well,
what was it?
People
69,
in the Pontiac,
69 to 72, was that?
Yeah, it was in the 73 as well. 74 had the SJ.
But that was a different style.
Correct. Yeah, the second gen was 69 through 72.
Yeah. Oh, man. And was there not an SSJ?
There was. There was an SSJ.
And then there was a Hurst.
Correct.
And I think, did the Hurst wipe out the SSJ?
No, I think the Hurst was the SSJ.
Okay. And the question here is, what is the J?
What's the J?
Wow. What kind of person comes up with a question about a 72 Grand Prix, for crying out loud?
An idiot does, Kevin. That's who, an idiot.
Well, don't sell yourself short. An idiot who has no idea the answer on this side. I gotta do something. I used to know this. So that's like a modified A body. It's a longer.
Yes.
It's a longer front. It's the wheelbase, I think, is close, but from the wheels forward is definitely longer, like the Monte Carlo.
Yes.
So was that the J body? Is that what they called it at that point?
It was. Oh gosh, you're gonna.
Or was
make
it
me look here?
Or was it the G body?
G body. Excuse
me.
G. The Golf.
Well,
G
that
body
blows that guess. J was named after somebody, wasn't it? It's initial for.
I don't know.
Yeah. It's not Japan, for sure. The J... you know what? I don't know, and I've taken a lot of time, so I'm gonna go with the Mike Huball Clark School of Trivia Question Guesses and say it stands for jacuzzi.
Jacuzzi. Love it. Love it. All right.
That's not it, Osty.
I know.
Kelly, over to you.
How funny is it now?
I'm gonna say that it's a reference to a trim package that is J-shaped. Like
Nice.
a swoop or something is in the shape of a J.
It's shaped like a dash.
Shaped like a dash. Very swoopy. Very swoopy. Gotta love it.
There's a swoop to it, like a like a Nike swoop. There's a J on this car somewhere, trim package.
Okay. All right. So, reference to a trim package shaped like a J.
Yeah.
Okay. Duly noted, friends.
Or jacuzzi, which is
Or jacuzzi.
also wrong. All right. Because I'm a generous host, I'm going to let our guest go now.
Okay.
Which was not first.
Okay, so the question I got given to me by the wonderful Trevor, because I was totally not prepared today, is what year was the only year for the automatic available in the Corvette? And bonus, what else was 1 year only option in this particular year, same year?
All right. Let me understand this properly.
Okay, so my first question is, what year could you get a Corvette with an automatic? It was the only year you could...
Only option. Okay.
Only option, right? You could only get an automatic. And then the bonus question is, also in the same year, what was another only option you could get?
Okay.
Know what I mean?
I think this
I'm not wording it right.
Twisted a little bit. I think
Okay.
the question might be, what year was a manual not available, right? That the only
Okay, let's say
transmission
that.
was an automatic? Is that what you're saying?
Correct.
Because you could get automatics for years and years.
Right, but a manual was not
Not
an
offered.
option.
And bonus
And
what
in the
other
same
option?
year,
Okay.
yeah.
What was the same? What was another option of that in that same year that was that year only?
Correct.
Okay. All right. You want me to go first, boss?
Of course.
All right. Right on. All right. So question is, what year was the only year for an automatic? You know what? I actually know the answer to this question.
Oh, man.
And that would be the hang on.
Hang on, I know it, but
I know it, but hang on.
It's the 2020 vet was the new style, the mid-engine vet, right?
2020, yes.
2020
Yes.
vet. All right, yeah, that's the year that because you only can get an auto in the 2020 vet. A manual's not offered. Trevor, you tricky son of a gun.
Well, but what about 2021? I mean, that's the correct answer.
The question is, what was the only year? Well, yeah, I mean, it's got to be the correct answer because I know that's a correct answer. I know 2020 wasn't. You cannot get a manual. It wasn't offered. But what other option was only for that year as well? And for the bonus, I'm gonna say, oh man, oh that's gonna be a rough one. Carbon fiber brakes.
Fancy.
Yeah.
What you think, Osty?
I don't know. I'm not sure Mike is right because I think the question is, what's the only year an an automatic was the only transmission, is the way I read that.
Yes.
So
I think that's the way I'm reading this as well.
But that was your final answer, pal. So
that's my final answer, yeah.
All right. So to your logic, the 20, you could not get a manual.
Correct.
What about 21? I think it's the same deal.
Well, then that makes the question moot, then, doesn't it?
But that was your final answer, so
Yeah.
I'm going to say it was a transition year in the 80s.
What year?
I don't know. So I did want to say like 84, which was the first year of the new body style. And I think there was something going on where they only had like whatever they had, 700 R4s or something for transmissions in them. And I remember people celebrating because the manual shift Corvette came back in the 80s at some point.
Okay.
But I don't think it was 84.
Is somebody writing these answers down? Because I'm not.
Yes.
Yeah. Mike normally writes those down. All right. I'm going to say it was 85.
Okay.
85.
And do you want to go for the bonus?
Yeah, I do. And I don't know what it is.
What was
but
the
I'm gonna
only
go for
other
it.
option in 85?
What was the only other 1 year only option available that year? Right.
Yes.
What do they offer for 1 year in the 80s? It's a great way to start our 100th
Well, everybody,
episode.
thanks for coming out, everyone.
Wait a minute, this is the 100th anniversary of episode?
Yeah,
Holy
that's a big deal.
cow! Super exciting.
Yeah, this was a great birthday until these questions came up. I'm going to say that was the only year that you could get criminy.
Pickles on your sandwich? Or
Corvettes always had so many, they were always America's sports car, but they often had every option you could imagine. They had power convertible tops and they had air conditioning and power steering and brakes and all that stuff. So it's none of that stuff. It's got to be something goofy.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Oh man, I'm so sorry. I just got to spit something out.
Yep.
I'm going to say it was the only year for. It's not braking related, I don't think. Geez. This is terrible.
Just guess.
I know. Trevor. It was the only year that you could get a pink factory color.
Okay. Type it.
Okay.
Let's move on.
It's typed.
All right.
Let's go.
Glad that's over.
Right. Jesus.
All right. So I've got one.
Yours?
And Mike, what yours was about a 69 to 72 Grand Prix, right?
Well, it's about the SJ and
right.
LJ and all
Okay.
that.
Okay. All right. Well, I have a question.
Yeah.
What is unique about the door handles on a 69 through 72 Pontiac Grand Prix?
You are not. You got to be kidding me, man.
Are they in the shape of a J?
You shut your mouth.
100% legit. I've been sitting on this question for a couple of weeks now.
Oh, my word. Holy cow. You. God dang it. All right.
So what's your answer, pal?
All right. Okay, so normally the door handles on that era Grand Prix were flush, and you would kind of push them in, and the end would stick out, and that's how you would unlatch the door. So they were flush door handles.
flush door handles.
Final answer. Write that down.
Are you suggesting it was like a toilet, like a flush lever?
Don't you try it.
All right, hold on. If that's your final answer.
Yes.
Flush door handles. And now, of course, I know that you've been poring over 69 to 72 Grand Prix literature to drum up that question that you came up with. So.
Well, full disclosure, I didn't even come across that in my research. I just knew it.
All right, Kelly, what do you think is unique about the door handles on a 69 to 72 Pontiac Grand Prix? And it could be a J model.
Right. I'm going to say, because Mike is so confident about the flush part, but I'm going to say the shape is J shape and contour.
I'm just gonna, this would be the very first time in 100 episodes that somebody had the same answer to both trivia questions.
Yeah. This is amazing.
It is. I knew we would forge new territory somehow on this episode, but I wasn't sure how. J-shaped handles.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's move on. What's next?
Putting all that behind us. Yeah. Well, what's next? That's a great question. So we've been through 100 episodes, and
congratulations, guys. That's a lot of hard work.
Well,
not really though.
It's a heck of a dedication, if anything else.
That's true, but it's been a real joy for me, and I love every episode we do.
Yeah, me too.
So awesome.
It has been a lot of fun, and like you said, work. I don't think work is the right word for it. It is. This is one of the few things we get to do that is what it seems, right? So people, they come up to me at the Muscle Car and Corvette Nationals, and they're like, "Oh man, your job's the best. You get to stand by muscle cars and talk about them on camera all day long," and they don't know what the rest of that process entails.
Oh, right.
The planning, the travel, the memorization, the camera blocking, and all the rest of it. But this, if somebody says, "Yeah, that's awesome. You guys get to talk about cars and stuff for an hour," that's what it is.
Yep. Exactly. Exactly.
There's no behind the scenes heavy lifting on this whatsoever.
Zero. And I mean zero heavy lifting.
Yeah. Which is great. It makes it fun. And we don't have to worry about a lot of stuff. So I too enjoy it. And I was talking to somebody just the other day about how this got started.
Oh, really?
Yes. And initially, because Mike joined a few episodes in, when we first started doing this, I was simply playing some longer, unedited interviews from videos. So like Stan Atlaser, who was a Pontiac racer, we did like an hour and a half interview with this guy for a Muscle Car of the Week episode that was 10 minutes long. So we had all this extra material from this guy that was very interesting. And I thought, well, a good way to be able to share this would, maybe do a podcast. So a few of the first episodes were sharing previously unheard material. And then a couple of shows, we had our friend Brian Stupski on.
Stupski.
Yeah. Reflecting on design and on the Riddler Award and, car shows and SEMA. And then it would always spin off the rails and end up being craziness.
That's what happens with Stupski. You always end up talking about unicorns.
Yeah, or van concepts that have waterfalls and Greek columns called the Vantheon. Right. Yeah. So, but then after that, I was thinking this could be something we could do, with some consistency. And I have a background in radio. And I always wanted to be able to do a show that was basically whatever the heck we wanted. And I thought, you know what? We have our super fan buddy, Mr. Mike Q-Ball Clark, who, watched V8 TV on television and joined our forum. And, that's how we got to know each other a little bit. And I ended up kind of throwing that out there saying, hey, do you want to give this a try? And you were like, let's go.
Yeah. At first, I was like, "Yeah, I guess so. What do I got to do?" It's like nothing. Just talk.
That's it. Yeah.
All right.
I haven't gone
said
back
so.
to. I haven't revisited that first episode when the headline was, the guest was our superfan Mike Clark,
Right.
and the episode right after that was our esteemed co-host Mr. Mike Clark. So,
Exactly. Yes.
yeah.
Well, at the time when it was our super fan Mike Clark joins us, I didn't know if this was a one and done thing. I had no idea what your plan was. And when you said, "Hey man, you want to do another episode?" I'm like, "Yeah, let's do it." And then it just kept going. I'm like, "All right, I guess I'm doing this. This is great."
Yeah, well, and I'm glad you did, because the first couple, we're kind of finding our way a little bit and
Right.
getting it down, and I knew that we'd get to a point where it's like it's just going to click, and here we are.
Mm-hmm.
And the other fun thing is that you and I would talk on the phone occasionally and basically have this show, but just as a phone call.
Right.
So now it's like we catch up, we, talk about nonsense, but now we can have guests and other people tune in, and apparently they enjoy it because we get far more positive feedback than anything else. So we appreciate that.
Absolutely.
And here we are.
Right on.
And Kelly, are you caught up on all of the episodes at this point? I think you're a couple behind still, right? You're getting
I'm still
close.
a couple behind. Yeah, I got caught up, and then you guys did a couple more since then.
Yeah. Well, during the early COVID time in February, March, April of 2020, we did quite a few.
Right. Yeah, we did. We were like cranking them out once a week.
Yeah. You were home. I was able to be in the garage, and that was good. So that kind of put you behind, I think, on. We got ahead of a lot of stuff. And I think a lot of podcasts and Zoom things and stuff were born out of that. And I think a lot of those have gone away because people don't have time for them anymore. But we're the, the cockroaches of automotive podcasting, and we're still here.
Despite the nuclear strike, we are still here.
That's right. We're COVID proof.
Right on.
So,
Thank goodness, right?
Yeah, right. Yeah. It's fun. So looking back, is there any high points? We'll pin this one on Kelly first. Anything that particular episodes or stories that you remember that you thought were fun, or that you liked, or that you?
I'm not going to say a particular one. My goal when I listen is always, is Mike's motor done?
Here we go.
Or what's happening with it? Progress
is it shaped like a J?
I always check on.
Yeah, it's shaped like a J.
Or just listening to Osty's perspective on what's happening in the shop or in the world in general. So it's just interesting because, I live with him, I work with him, we're together all the time. And then to hear the conversations you guys have about the industry or a car particularly, I think my favorite part is just hearing you guys laughing and telling stories. And I always the update is always on Mike's motor.
Well, Kelly, since you asked, it's very close. It's pretty much fully assembled. I'm kind of on my buddy Randy's timeline right now. He's trying to get a few things done. He had to pull the motor out of his El Camino and rebuild it. He wiped a cam lobe out, and he's trying to get it put back in. Yeah, well, he got a roller cam now, and he's feeling a lot better about it. Mm-hmm. And he's got to get that back in there and kind of shuffle a few things around in his garage until we can get my car over there and get the engine put in. So that's kind of what we're waiting on at this point.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, we're just.
Are you going to make
there.
Power Tour?
I am hoping to make a few stops of the Power Tour. Yes,
that's
going to be really close to us.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, they finally announced Power Tour dates and cities and stuff, which is great because as everybody knows, it got canceled last year. However, that's a challenging one for Mike because he's got some family, holidays.
Yeah, I got my birthday is August 25th, and my wife's birthday is August 26th.
Which
and that is smack dab in Power Tour country then.
and especially the
happy birthday to both of you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Yeah, and it's
road trip.
Yeah.
Smack dab in Power Tour country that's closest to you guys on the map, too.
Yeah, it's not far from us.
Are you suggesting that Jenny doesn't want to do Power Tour for her birthday?
It's not a suggestion. It's a fact.
As crazy as that sounds, yes, I think that's the case.
I don't understand.
Yeah, I know, right? You don't want to be in a hot, stinking car in the middle of nowhere on your birthday? How dare you?
That's been running for a very short period of time.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You mean everybody doesn't sign up for the stuff I do?
Yeah, with a car which would have been finished the night before. Why wouldn't you want to go on a long trip?
Why not? I don't understand.
I mean, that's hot rodding. That's what we do.
That's what we've done, for sure.
Yeah.
Well, that's how you guys met.
It is.
Yep.
Yeah.
Jumping in a car that was done the night before and far from done.
Right.
And then it was done.
And then it was done.
I was thinking about that the other day. So we've talked about that story in the past, but the very short version is our 62 Galaxy underwent a wreck and then a fix and a restoration to a degree. And by the time it was ready to go on the Power Tour was getting ready to start in LA, the car looked like it was finished. And I had a whole bunch of friends over and, we all thrashed all night to put the final details on it. But nobody really addressed the mechanicals on the car because that wasn't what it was in for. It was to fix a crash and trim and repaint and stuff.
Okay.
And the engine was theoretically a known quantity 5 years before when it got wrecked. Well, it turns out it wasn't. It wasn't really up for the task. And on day one, of course, we ended up getting on the road late. And I'm catching up with a friend of mine, Mike Shartzis, who had a 96 Impala SS. And we're crossing the desert on 44 headed to Flagstaff, Arizona. And it's 1,000,000 degrees out. And I'm not used to this car. And I got the top down. And the speedometer doesn't work, of course. And I told Mike, I said, all right, let's just try and keep it, 65, 70, something like that. And he's like, oh, yeah, sure. So he put the windows up and the air conditioning on and put the hammer down. And, he's doing 100 miles an hour. And I had no relative way to know. I mean, I knew it was fast, but this car's windy at like 20 miles an hour. And this is before GPSs and all the rest of it. So by the time we rolled into Flagstaff, the rod bearings are all knocking like crazy.
Oh, geez.
And the heat of the moment, and the spirit of the hot rodders was, let's fix the car, So, and this is the part that I was just, little bits and pieces of this trip come back to me at a time. It's like getting over some kind of trauma, I guess. But I remember calling the 3 local auto parts stores in Flagstaff saying, do you guys have rod bearings for a 390 Ford motor? Yeah. But what I didn't take into account, and maybe I did at the time and I just rolled the dice, is I think there was only one set available. So I think we just got standard bearings.
Oh, okay.
And we put them in kind of hoping that
the crank hadn't been cut before or anything?
Right. That it was going to live, right? And of course it didn't. And it was, 3 states later that the bottom end of this motor is rattling like crazy again.
Oh, man.
Which, I had to have known was coming, but I think I was kind of in denial.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
And the tour stopped at a casino in Kansas City, I think. And a local guy had a disassembled FE motor that he was willing to sell me. And
that's nice.
Steve Mignante and I went and looked at it. It was a 428, and he's like, "Oh, I don't know. You could probably put it together in the driveway here. And you could get it going again." And I'm like, "Dude, I can't look at a crank eyeballs and telling you that it's machined properly.
Right.
I can't. A completely unassembled engine. I can't risk that." So the car's knocking like crazy. We decide let's just try. We make it to St. Louis, and it's done. And get on the flatbed, and the flatbed takes us to a guy's house who offered up his garage, and that's where I met Kelly, and that's how that all went down. But just recently that remembrance of, yeah, when you rebuild an engine, you got to pay attention to rod bearing sizes.
That helps. That definitely helps.
So, yeah. But, it all turned out great.
Absolutely, it did.
The three of us wouldn't be here talking right now if that didn't happen.
That is correct.
We say that in the shop a lot. Like, look what came of that chance meeting. Look what we have developed, and the crew and the cars and the shop, and it's just unbelievable. I mean, you want to talk about the butterfly effect, It's pretty amazing.
Right. Well, I'm sure none of that would have been possible without, probably 99% of it wouldn't have happened without your perseverance and your dogged determination to make something not fail. So, and I've seen you in action, Kelly, and Kelly doesn't stop.
No.
Kelly don't stop.
No, I don't.
No.
Yeah.
No. But, Kevin was working, and, I didn't know how important his job was, but in my opinion, it's important to show up to work the next day. And he needed to be in another city by the next morning. And it was like, well, then we have to get this car on the road. There's no sleep until he's on the road. That's how it went.
Nice.
Yeah. And that was the aspect that was a little bit different, because other participants, if you break, you're ruining an awesome vacation, but in my case, right. I was working, every day. I had to be in different cities and interview people for Hot Rod TV and the whole thing. Right. So I was already in hot water from my higher ups for even taking the car.
Oh boy.
Cause they're like, that chunk of crap isn't going to make it, and you aren't going to get your job done.
Oh man.
And Mary McNally, who's a friend of mine, she was doing PR work for a couple different automotive companies, and I think in Albuquerque, she pulled me aside and said, "You got to make a decision here. You should park that car here now and leave it, because your bosses aren't happy."
Oh man.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Mr. Evans is not happy.
Well, this is before Mr. Evans. This was
really?
This was.
Was this Ira?
No, it was before Ira. It was Ro McGonigal and Gerber, Brad Gerber.
Oh boy.
Oh wow.
Gerber was publisher at that point, and my boss. So yeah, it was pressure on every direction, and then on the flip side, you got all the people on the tour that are like, yeah, man, let's get this thing together and go, and they rallied, which was awesome. But I'm thinking, maybe some rallies don't need to be fought.
Yeah.
Because they didn't know that this was, potentially career suicide. So that's another little known fact of that trip that never came out at story time. Yeah, the fact that it almost cost me my job.
Almost lost your job over it. Well,
yeah.
And eventually I did.
Mike, what was some of your favorite parts in 100 episodes?
Well, probably episode number 1 for me was cool for me. Yeah, it was neat to be asked to do this, and I think one of the things that continues to get a little traction, and we talked about it this morning already, was my trivia answer for the Oldsmobile Curve Dash, or why is the dashboard a dashboard? Yeah, right. that answer just never disappoints.
Well, and just recently we learned that same question was a Stump the Chump on Car Talk.
That's right. It was.
With Click and Clack, the Tappet brothers.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think they gave the right answer.
Didn't they?
I don't think so. They said that the dash, so the question was, why is a dashboard called a dashboard? And they said because the horse-drawn sleigh
went dashing through the snow.
Exactly, that's what they said. You would dash away, and then you dash through the snow. So it was the dashboard. I'm like, nah, because the answer we had was that to dash something means to like block it or avoid it. It was an old English term,
right? Because of the buggies, the horses would kick up mud and whatever, and the dashboard would block it.
Right.
And
it's shaped like a dash.
And it's shaped like a dash. Not swoopy like the old Curve Dash.
Or like the Grand Prix door handles.
Door handles, right. Yeah. Very swoopy.
Yeah.
So that's a couple of things that I really liked. I really loved at SEMA. Was it at SEMA? No. It was PRI that we did a little video episode of.
That was a good one. I like that one too.
Yeah, that was cool.
We did that at McCacken. Also,
we did do that at McCacken as well. Yeah, and we did a live. Not a live, but we did a session when I was at the what was it? The Wisconsin.
The Carcraft Summer Nationals.
Yeah, Summer Nationals. Yeah, we went out there and did the show there. So a lot of those on location ones I really dug because you see people, they're walking around. There's a whole different energy about it, and it's just really cool.
Right.
So
well, and again, I think not by design, but I find that there's been many times where we've been a few steps ahead of more people doing something. And today, there's a zillion podcasts out there. Mm-hmm. But when we did that thing at Carcraft, there weren't.
True.
So it was a little bit, not a giant spectacle, but people were interested. Here's guys with microphones. What's going on here?
What are they doing?
Right. Are they talking about me?
Can I be a guest?
Yeah. So I agree. Some of those location ones, and we've done a few where, like on I was at SEMA on setup day, and you were back in your studio, garage studio.
Oh, right. Yeah, I forgot
and all the
about
people
that.
kept coming up and asking where the bathroom was?
Yes, exactly.
Yes. I was a
Excuse
janitor.
me a second, Mike. It's just down the hall and to the left. And back to the show.
That's it. I was a janitor for the Las Vegas Convention Center as it was getting set up. But that was cool. Here's me standing there talking to myself
Right.
at this table, and everyone's like, but in Vegas, that's normal.
Right. That's true. Yeah, and you brought me up on your stage when I first got to the SEMA show. When you invited me out there to my first and
that's right.
So far only SEMA show, and I walked in with Trevor and Trevor, and you're on stage and you're talking and you see me, and I knew that was trouble. and I kind of slowly walked behind Trevor in anticipation of what was going to happen next. And it says, "How many people here? It's their first SEMA show." And he points at me, "You, sir. I heard it's your first SEMA show. Come on up on stage." Like, all right, come on. I'm radio, baby. I got a face for radio here.
Well, how many people have that experience?
That's true. Not many. Not
right.
many.
First timer up on the SEMA Central stage.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, that was cool.
Well, that was the whole point. We try to have fun with this stuff.
Yep.
I think we've been fortunate to have some very cool guests over the episodes.
Oh yeah.
There's a few of the show. So I don't really go back and listen to our stuff. I don't wake up on a Tuesday and say, I'm going to listen to my own show. Just not something I do. But there's a couple that I definitely do. And one of them was the interview with Miles Kovacs.
Oh, great interview. Phenomenal interview.
Was wonderful.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
That guy has many, many layers.
Oh, yeah.
He's a complicated dude. He's a genius, but a really, really great dude.
Yeah, he really is. In fact, I should reach out to him again because I've got some ideas that I might need his spin on.
Oh, right on.
Yeah. Another one that I really liked was Jeff Smith's interview.
Oh, yeah.
Just because I'm kind of a magazine geek and to have the guy that, I used to read in the magazines and eventually worked with, but then to be a guest on our show, was very cool. Mm-hmm. And it's a parallel universe that, he's also become a personal friend, but it was still neat to get his persona from when he was the big magazine guy before I knew him.
Right.
And share those stories. So that was a lot of fun.
Yeah. I loved having Ed Tilrock on the show. An amazing talent, Ed Tilrock. Amazing.
Yeah. And he keeps getting amazinger.
it almost makes me angry how good he is. I almost want to call him out, in front of God and country and say, Ed, that is not a drawing. That is a photograph. Stop lying to everybody. That's how good that is.
Well, but he's too nice.
He's very, very talented.
He is
He's such a nice guy.
Yeah, he's amazing.
Yeah. And then looking at, other guests that we've had, Clarence Barnes was a fun show.
Oh, he was a great guy. Yeah. Still in touch with Clarence after that show.
Yeah.
A couple of more colorful ones were Nick Scavo.
Oh, that was a great one.
Oh, boy.
And Joe Sebergandio. I never had to edit so much profanity out of one episode in my life.
Yeah, that was fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Both of those guys did a little creative editing.
Yep, absolutely.
When it was Nick with the story of that's who the
bleep 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 I am.
Yeah. If you haven't heard that episode, go back and look up the Nick Scavo interview. That was a great one.
It really was.
Yeah. So, it's very cool that, we've had these opportunities and that people agree to join us.
Yeah. Even better.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. I mean, it's fun doing it just one-on-one, but the fact that people actually listen and talk about this stuff is phenomenal.
Yeah. And seem to like it.
And seem to like it. Yeah.
Right. So we are pretty fortunate to be able to have the opportunities to do this. And, because this is our little deal, I think too many people make a propaganda machine for their own stuff, with their podcast or their videos or whatever.
Right.
And, we talk about the shop, the V8 Speed and Resto Shop in Redwood, Illinois, available at v8speedshop.com. We talk about it every once in a while, but this isn't a big commercial for the shop. But I think there's so many interesting things happening all the time that, people working in their garage might be able to relate to, or, other professionals or people that are into the car industry in general, that there's just, it's a story machine, that building.
Right, exactly. We're able to provide kind of a front row seat to inside a real restoration shop doing real work on real cars and what it takes to get them from, a steaming pile to a show winner.
From steaming pile to show winner.
You're going to put that on your next T-shirt.
Yeah. We've had
much for real, not reality.
Yeah.
There have been some piles that had no steam even.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was some pretty bad stuff. So, and the other interesting thing is looking back to our first episode together, how far the business has grown.
Oh, for sure.
In terms of additional staff members and crew members and facilities and everything else. And we went, we obtained our main building and then renovated it and then expanded and got the one next door. And that was pretty much all Kelly's doing.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Oh, Kelly saw that and was like, that's my building and I'm going to get it. And she got it.
I mean, and all of the growth comes from the necessity. It's not like we have empty space.
Right.
We're always looking for more room or places to put cars or parts or employees or toolboxes or whatever. So it definitely was a necessary thing.
Yeah, you're not gritting a new space and hoping you can fill it. You have to get new space because you need to fill it now.
Right. We get and when we left my parents' property from our original shop, I don't know the square footage. I really should measure that. We stored our parts in a different barn, which used to be the old hog barn on the farm, and the walking distance to the back barn, as we called it, to go get the parts. I don't know how far that was, but 200 yards maybe, I'd say. And now I think about how I'm telling the
gosh.
crew, let's be more efficient, going, working, and let's be efficient. And I'm thinking, oh my gosh, all the time we took walking through the garden, eating blackberries back and forth to get a part. And I'm on these guys like, hurry up and be efficient. And I'm like, oh my gosh, we were so inefficient back then.
And having to walk by the chicken coop because the cell reception was better there, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and I petted the cow all the time, and I had to get chickens out of the way. I mean, inefficient as heck, but a lot more fun, honestly.
Yeah. Well, every once in a while you hear somebody who isn't a business owner or not much of an entrepreneur or not much of a risk taker, and they'll comment on somebody who's been successful or has something that they don't. And it's like, oh man, it must be nice,
Right.
You're pretty lucky to have that place. And I don't really do luck,
Right.
Luck. I'll tell you what luck was. Luck was that my car broke and I met Kelly. That was the luckiest thing that ever happened to me, and nothing will ever compare.
Without a doubt. Yeah.
There was no, premeditated thing in the universe that made that happen. But when it comes to the business, Kelly's talking about how, it was necessity that we grew, but it was also seeing the opportunity and taking it. And that, when people talk about being lucky, it's not luck. It's identifying an opportunity, assessing the risk factor, and putting all that aside and going for it. And that's what she does very well, especially on the facility. And in my case, I'm more conservative. I tend to get freaked out and think, oh man, if we expand into this building, what happens if it sits empty? And oh my gosh. And she points out that we haven't had that problem, so let's just go. Let's just do it. And then she does it, and here we are.
And she's absolutely right every damn time.
Right. Yeah. Right.
I agree. I don't think luck participates in our growth specifically. Maybe other people, I'm not sure, but in ours, very specifically, it was the willingness to take a risk and put in the effort and the time and the energy and a lot of just telling Kevin, it'll be okay. It'll be all right. We'll figure it out. It'll be okay. And him letting me without too much fight. I mean, he would always be like, I don't know. You could tell he was nervous.
Sure.
But there are many a times where it's very unfortunate, but there is a person in a relationship who has a goal, a dream, a motivation, a desire, and the other person in that relationship shuts it down. And I am eternally grateful that Kevin does not do that to me. And in anything, whether it's business related or let's go fishing or whatever, he's allowed me that opportunity and that reinforcement to be risky and take those opportunities and chances that we have been presented. And that's tremendous. That's why we are where we are right now.
That's a big part of it, and of course, putting the rest of the pieces together of the strategy of growing the crew size. That was Kelly's deal. My hang up was...
Yeah, you remember me telling you we have to hire somebody, and you're like, no, I can do it all.
Well, at first it was the no, I can do it all. It was far less no, I can do it all, and more of, well, who's going to do this? Who can we find that's going to have our quality standard and level of care and detail that we can entrust to do this? Because these people don't grow on trees, and especially not in a rural community where our shop is. And lo and behold, she's been able to find people that have been our team is our biggest asset, most tremendous source of productivity and creativity and just getting stuff done and making these cars come to life in ways that I never, ever, 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 ever could. No way. And Kelly had an experience in law firms before we started this business. And I think a lot of that came from the law firm kind of structure where it's kind of scalable and modular. You just put more people in this department as needed. And my hang up was always, well, that's going to be an expense. And her point is, no, this is going to turn around and make us grow and get things done and flourish, not be an expense. So it's funny. I'm normally the guy with some of the ideas, and Kelly often is tasked with trying to make them happen. And today I've learned to kind of keep my ideas in my department where, I'm confident that I can do these, or we have people in place where we can work together and do them. But early on, it was like, well, let's do this. And she would be like, well, if you can figure out how to make it happen, then okay. And on her side, she's like, well, let's expand into this building. And I would kind of say the same thing. But she would get some interesting ideas along the way as well. And the one story that I think is funny is we were driving out to SEMA one year. And I think you were gapped up on cough medicine or something, Benadryl or
Is
whatever.
this about the bear?
Yeah. So we're driving along in like western Colorado or something, and she's like, hey.
It was the beginning border of Colorado to the ending border of Colorado.
Yeah, well, maybe, stuff wasn't even legal in that state, so you can't blame that at that point.
No.
But she goes, hey, I want to get a bear. Right? And
I want to raise a bear.
Yeah. And what I learned at that point was the way she handled me when I have some of these ideas, and I just kind of tried it right back. And instead of saying, that's crazy, you don't want a bear, that's ridiculous, you get that thought out of your mind.
That would motivate me more.
Right. So instead, I said, oh, yeah, okay, cool. We can get a bear. And she's like, oh, great. Yeah. So, and then she kind of went through the process of, okay, well, let's see, where can I get a bear? Well, I think I know a guy who actually has one in a cage, and maybe I can get one from him. And then where would I put it? Well, let's see, I'd have to put it on my dad's farm, and maybe there's a spot there. Well, let's see, what do they eat? Well, they eat a lot, yeah, and they kind of stink. And do I have time to be there every day? And pretty soon it was like, yeah, you know what? I don't think I want a bear anymore.
Nice. Nicely done. Well played, sir. Well played.
And at no point was I the bad guy saying no.
Several hundred miles, but right.
Yeah,
well,
let's
It
talk
took
about
several
this.
hundred miles, but I liked it.
And a box and a half of children's Benadryl, I think.
That's awesome. I love
So,
it. I love it.
it was only when I realized that was happening to me at certain stages. Where it's like, hey, you know what I think we ought to do? We should go to this event and, do a big giant video screen, and we can get these 8 cars. Okay, yeah, sure. Well, that's a great idea. Why don't you get working on that? And then you get halfway through and go, oh, man, this ain't going to work.
This sucks.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Oh,
all right, no problem.
Oh, you don't want to do it anymore? Okay. All right.
What do you want for supper?
Yeah. Let's go fishing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, with all this talk of growing the shop and running that business and starting at the farm, we haven't even touched upon the fact that not only are you running the V8 Speed and Resto shop, but you're also running a full-blown video production facility, V8 TV. And that takes a whole nother level of commitment to keep that going as well.
Yeah, it does. And it's funny being as close to it as I am. There's a portion of every day that is dedicated to video and TV stuff that I just do. It's just second nature at this point. And looking back at some of the challenges we used to have producing the V8 TV television show, we didn't have enough space, or it was too loud, or we didn't have a different car or whatever. And today we got anything we need, we can walk out in the shop. What do you want to shoot? Here it is,
What are you in for?
That's it. Right. Yeah. And I think the What Are You In For series came out of an episode of VA Radio.
Well, I don't want to take all the credit.
Pat you on the back from across the way.
Very nice. No,
Good job, Mike. Way to go.
Totally.
Yeah,
And for those who haven't seen that, it's basically, let's go out and do a kind of an update, but more of a profile of a car that's in process being restored in our shop, and tell a little bit of the story and, show it. And we'll show it again when it gets finished, or we finish whatever stages we're going to do on this particular car. And that was an example of something that was so obvious and right in front of me that I couldn't even see it. Because my mind was always set on, well, people only want a beginning to end full transformation video series.
Right.
You know, they only want to see a full car get restored, and they want to see it all at once. So we got to shoot every day for a year and a half until this thing's done, and then put it all together and release it that way. And in reality, people just like looking at cool stuff. So we did the first one, and it was just, here you go. You know, this is a car, walking around, showing it a little bit. And the response was really, really positive. And it did a few other things. The technicians sometimes learn a little bit more about the owner and the car, just because, you know, myself or Joe or Brian in the front part of the shop might have more communication with the owners than the actual technicians. But another thing is, the owners really like that.
I bet they love it.
You know?
Yeah.
And I try to put myself in that position, and it's like, well, what if I brought my Riviera somewhere and all of a sudden there's a video of the shop owner saying, you know, what a cool car it is. Yeah, that actually sounds kind of cool.
Right. Right. Makes you kind of beam with pride a little bit. Like, my car is cool enough for this guy to take his time and shoot a video on it and show everybody that's watching his show.
Yeah, and that's the great thing about being able to share those stories. So the latest one we published, did you see the 77 Trans Am?
Absolutely, I saw the 77 Trans Am.
That owner emailed afterwards, and he's like, "Oh, this completely made my day. I watched it. My family watched it. I emailed it to my niece in New York who's driven the car, and she's seen it, you know, and it just went everywhere." And
that's so cool.
It was a little thing that it doesn't have any downside. So
true, exactly.
And it's something that's different that other shops don't do. You know, it's one more little thing. So
I don't know of any shops that do what you do as far as the video production attached to the whole main shop. I mean, because you own the video production company. I mean, yeah, right. your Kindigs and your other people, they have a video production company that comes in and shoots it, but it, you know, the footage belongs to them and they get to do with it what they want. But your footage is your footage, and you get to do whatever you want with it. And I think that's really cool. You have full quality control over what you want to put out.
Yes, and you know, I find myself kind of getting in my own way sometimes because we've got some great stuff shot. And it's like, we need to get this out there. And then it's just like building a car. It's like, well, I really need to do this a little bit better. I got to, you know, repaint the fenders and, you know, I'm going to up the interior a little bit. So it kind of lives, you know, in an unknown little world by itself. And in reality, if you got that thing out, people would be like, that's awesome. You know?
Yeah, so for sure.
That's something that we're working on more of is, just getting a higher quantity out. And you said, you know, other shops and other businesses might not have that capability, but it's coming. You know, anybody can put something out with a phone, you know, and shoot video. So
yeah, but you were doing it first, man.
Well, I don't know about first, but we've been doing it a long time.
You sure have been.
And I think the difference is the video. It's got to tell a story, and it's got to tell a good one. And if it looks good and sounds good, that's even better. But I think people are starting to get burned out on people walking around with a camera, phone, and just saying, "Yeah, this is my Camaro," you know, and then it's over. But some of those videos get 10 billion plays, and that's the frustration too. You know? It is what it is.
There's that.
All right,
there's got to be something benefited by or something. I don't know what the word is, but that's different than your videos than others. Because I mean, I was even trying to recently repair a damn lawnmower, and I went to YouTube and I searched for these videos, and I turn them off so quick. I'm like, I don't care how to fix it. You suck. Like, I can't watch this whole thing. So it is the way that you do the videos and the information that you give is so much more informative and entertaining to watch that I think, you know, there's some value there to your viewers that is far different than someone just walking around with their cell phone. And I think that's important. And I think that's why the longevity has worked. I think it's why our shop has grown so much by people calling and because of seeing the videos. So there's definitely a difference. That's important.
Well, and I appreciate that. And rule number one for me is if you're going to put something out and ask somebody for 2 or 5 or 10 minutes of their time, you better give them something worthwhile because you'll never get it again, And I think a lot of people that make, especially those little how-to or technical training, fix it in my garage type stuff, they're not considering people are actually watching this and what, kind of gauging what their experience is going to be all about by consuming this video product. They're just saying, oh, here's my camera and you got to take this out and, put this in and you're done. So yeah, to communicate and try to connect with the person on the other side of the screen, again, it's something that is second nature to us because we've been doing it so long. But I think you're probably right that it's not as common as what we try to do anyway. I'm going to change gears a little bit and throw something out to Mr. Cue Ball and say, is there anything that you want to focus on in the next 100?
Ooh, ha. Put me on the spot. Okay, that's cool. No worries.
I'll let you marinate for a sec. Cause I know.
I would love to have more guests. That's what I would love. Definitely more guests. So
he's done talking to me. Is what that is. Heard
he's such
those
a
stories
sharing
before.
person.
Yeah. No, I'm down with that totally, and I think we are going to have more guests. We've got some people lined up already, and part of the challenge there is just physically connecting and everybody getting on the same time schedule. We're in the Midwest. A lot of our guests are on different coasts, and but we've never had that I know of any listener say, "Hey, that guest sucked." We don't want to hear from that person anymore. So that's cool, definitely. I've alluded to it several times before, but I'm still tracking down and trying to land on what I want to produce for the Cadzilla epic story.
Oh, right. That's right. The Cadzilla story. It's not dead.
No, it's not. It just keeps growing.
Oh, man. That's right. You got some big plans for that.
Yeah, Jeff Smith gave us some insight on that, and while all the people are still around that worked on it outside of Coddington, I guess, we need to get on that. So that's something I want to. Hopefully not in the next. It's not going to take us another 100, but at some point. And I think there's some other kind of pivotal cars and events and stuff that would be fun to explore and share those kind of stories. Like the Hero How to Merc, and maybe the whole legend of Bigfoot and the monster trucks and stuff. And
all right.
I've been fortunate enough to meet and hang out with Bob Chandler, who started all that, and he's actually local to us, and he might be a good guest. So
who hasn't heard of Bigfoot?
Right. Yeah. But does everybody know how that started?
Yeah. As a listener, I'd like to hear the two of you at events or on road trips or like doing activities together.
Oh, right on. That'd be great.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we're chilling in our garage.
I don't know. I know, but a lot of people may or may not know that you're like 300 and something miles separated. So it would be neat to have more right next to each other, experiencing the same event or trip or whatever together.
Yeah, same stuff at the same time. I'd dig that. Yeah. I'm definitely down with that. I would love to go to more events. I don't get to go to very many, so to be able to do that and to be able to have a show would be just phenomenal.
Yes, yeah. And in the past, I've been able to go and record little chunks here and there from different events, and I was never really happy with some of the stuff that I did or did not put together to share on this show. But the way we did that SEMA thing where I was there, and if you couldn't make it, we still did a
right
one of us on location kind of thing. Now that the technology has advanced to where that's a lot easier.
Sure.
Bonneville comes to mind to be a good one.
Don't stop talking. Tell me more.
Well, we got rooms booked for 21 now. So
do you?
Yeah. Hey, Grady got us the rooms, and he's got an idea. The rooms are booked, and that's all handled, but he's looking at elevating that experience a little bit higher, and he wants to buy an old RV and drive out and camp on the Salt.
That's a dream right there.
It'd be cool.
Oh my goodness! Stop it now. I'm going to make some irresponsible purchases here.
Well, hopefully he does. That's the whole point.
Yeah, right.
He found some like 86, Coachman RV that was painted purple for some reason, and he sent me the link on it. He's like, "Yeah, I'm thinking about buying this, and then I'll flip it when we're done." And I'm thinking, there's not going to be anything left of this thing when we're done. But yeah, that would be a cool one. And in fact, I talked with Chris Rashke at ARP today. He actually called me on my birthday. He calls me every year on my birthday. It's very nice.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah. And I usually get 2 calls on my birthday. I get one from Chris Rashke. And then today, I also got the call from my mother who sang to me and said, "Happy birthday to you. You belong in a zoo. You look like a monkey and smell like one too." Yeah, my own mother sang that to me today. How nice.
Right on.
But the Speed Demon guys, I had no idea this, but you saw obviously the Speed Demon Streamliner, which is now the fastest piston car in the world.
Correct.
Well, for their off-season teardown, they took the whole thing apart and completely media blasted the whole chassis.
Really?
And changed out some tubes, rewelded some stuff, repowder coated it, and it's all coming back together again. It's
nice.
It's an amazing effort. But it would be cool to do something from Steve Watt's shop, who does that work.
I would be down for that.
Yeah.
Well,
we got to work on that. It's in Ventura, California.
Oh, trip to Cali? Absolutely.
Yeah,
let's book it.
There you go, man.
Kelly, you have great ideas.
I know.
And
everything will be fine.
We have proof that it was her idea.
Be fine.
Yeah, right on. Well, maybe that's the goal for the next 100, is that everything will be fine.
I love it.
Yeah, me too. So I think at this point, our listener is probably kind of wound up to learn all about 68 to 72 Grand Prix. And
that is unbelievable. It really is.
I would like to sincerely thank everybody who has listened and contributed to this little podcast and shared nice comments and shared the show and played along with our trivia contests online and left positive comments and sent me personal emails reflecting of their own versions of the stories that we've told and sharing their stories with us. That to me means that even though it's just you and I and our guest at this point, Kelly, but we are making connections with people all around the world, whether we know it or not, and that's what this is all about. So that's very cool. So thank you all for listening.
Hear.
Part of it. Yeah. All right, man. So I guess you go first because you threw the first one out there.
Okay. All right. So I asked you and Kelly and listener what in the Model J, LJ, and SJ, what the J stands for on the Grand Prix. And Kevin said jacuzzi. And that was a phenomenal answer, albeit incorrect.
You think?
Yeah, how about that? And Kelly said there was a interior package that was shaped like a J, and that's what the J stood for. Unfortunately, that is not correct either. The J stood for the general manager of the Pontiac Motor Division at the time, Mr. John DeLorean.
John DeLorean. Damn it! I knew it.
Mr. John DeLorean.
Man. Oh, man.
Almost like how the boss was for
for Bunky Knudsen.
Yeah, Bunky Knudsen. The J was for John DeLorean. So there you go.
Man.
Yeah,
I inhaled too many.
I'm surprised you didn't get that.
Well, I am too, and I think I inhaled too many fumes off the grill at lunch today, and I fried my brain.
Oh, come on. Excuses.
I should have gotten that one. Come on, you know that.
You should have, Osty. What's your deal?
Yeah. Bad deal.
It's all right.
Well, nice.
Moving
all
on.
right. So Kelly's question from Trevor.
Yes. So the question was, what was the only year... How did you word it again? Because I'm reading Trevor's and it's not worded easily to read.
No, if I understand correctly,
that there was not a manual option. Let's say that.
Yeah, and this is another
for
one
a
of those,
Corvette.
That gotcha questions that I already know, but I don't know now.
Okay, so the answer is 1982.
Ah, man, so close.
And the bonus was what else was a 1 year only option in 1982
Target top?
on the Corvette was the hatchback C3. It was the only year you could get a hatchback C3.
Yeah, it actually opened.
Oh.
Yeah.
Trevor,
Yeah.
come on.
Thanks, Trevor.
I want to know how what about the 2020? Let's revisit that. I mean, that's
You have
an
to take that
automatic.
up with Trevor. I can't argue.
But it has a manual shift, though, right? But is that, or is it a dual clutch?
It's probably got those paddle shifts, right?
No, what I'm saying is that it's not a 1 year only.
That's true. It's not.
'Cause it's the same driveline in 20 and 21.
Uh-huh.
And the question was for 1 year.
Yeah, but...
So last year it would have worked because it would have been the only year for the car. Therefore, everything is 1 year only.
We're gonna, Trevor, when you hear this,
Take that up with Trevor.
we're gonna have words. All right.
Yeah.
I was on the tailpipe vapors of that question. I was a few years off, but I could smell something around that
Yeah,
time
you were.
period.
Yeah, you were sniffing around it.
Yeah, but I got it wrong totally, and I admit that. All right, so my question.
Yardley's keeping track, right?
I know he is. Yeah,
Absolutely, he is. Yardley, our V8 official V8 radio statistician.
Yes.
By the way, a special thank you to Yardley for his assistance with Kevin's birthday present that didn't quite work out, but thanks.
What?
Oh. Did he try to feed you a question too?
No, he was assisting me with getting getting Kevin a birthday present, but then when I talked to someone, he said that Kevin had already gotten it, so we're done.
Oh.
But Yardley was helpful.
Well, he always is. I did well on birthday gifts. Kelly got me with the assistance of the guys in the shop, a full engine regasket set for the Riv because it's been leaking a little bit. But not just that, it's not a cork one. It's the neoprene and rubber ones,
fantastic.
which for a Buick 455 is a hard set to find.
Really? Oh,
Yeah,
right on.
You got to be looking for it specifically, and the guys found it. So that was really cool. And then she got me a rechargeable 3/8 ratchet.
Oh,
No, it's a 1/4 inch, the one you asked for.
Oh, it is 1/4 inch. I'm sorry, I'm looking at the picture here wrong. Even better. And I got I don't have the tool in my hand yet. It's in the mail, but so therefore I mess that up. And then also a Dakota Digital standalone cruise control setup for the Riv.
Oh, cool, killer.
So when I come to visit you, my right leg won't be numb.
Very nice, very nice. Yeah, get that installed before it's for
Pronto.
time for beers at Bernie's.
Yeah. They got 2 weeks on that. So
Yeah.
we'll see. So I did well, but thank you, Yardley, for whatever it was. In the meantime, in our quest to learn everything about the Grand Prix, my question was, what was unique about the door handles? And Kelly said they were J-shaped handles, which depending on what font the J is, it could be.
Oh, jeez, come on.
If you look at
Comic
it, maybe
Sans, then yes.
Yeah. But probably not. But Mikey said that they were flush door handles. And that, my friends, is the only correct answer of this whole episode.
Amen. Look at me. Look at me.
Yay!
How about that? He's turning a new
Nice.
leaf with the second 100 episodes.
Oh, man, I love this. I like being right. It feels good.
Way to go, Mike.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
And you're right. They
Although I was
pivot.
looking forward to Mike being pissed off somewhere in this episode because that is also really funny to listen to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My pain gets laughs. I love it.
One of our early reviewers who said, yeah, this is a great show until either Mike gets mad or he laughs and all hell breaks loose.
All hell breaks loose, yeah. I always keep that in the back of my mind, too.
Nice. But next time you see a John DeLorean-inspired Grand Prix on the road, check out the door handles because they don't have a thumb push button like all the rest of the GMs. And I think that's the only car, right? Because the Monte Carlo had regular door handles. And where this came about is we've got a 65 Tempest that we're working on in the shop, a convertible, and it's got Kindig door handles. And I thought, is there an alternative? And how cool would it be to use those Grand Prix handles?
Yeah, that would be really cool.
OPGI sells a reproduction of that handle.
Really?
Yeah, so you can do it.
I could do it.
You can do it.
You can do it. Yeah. Nice.
All right. Well, that was a giant letdown, except for Mike's triumphant win there. But we'll see what we do next time. Mm-hmm. So for everybody on this side, again, thank you for tuning in. We appreciate it. Hope you enjoy this. If you like this kind of thing, just hit that subscribe button wherever you're listening, and the next episode will magically appear in your inbox or on your favorite podcasting app. How about that? Mm-hmm. And to all of our friends in all the different countries, thank you for tuning in. Kelly, do you have any final words on this episode?
Well, as a listener, I just want to thank you guys for your dedication and time to entertain all of us. And, thanks for having me on, and congratulations for 100 episodes. That's really awesome. A huge accomplishment. And I hope that you both have a tremendous 100 more or beyond that.
Wow. Thank you for that.
Thank you. That's very nice.
Yeah, it is. How about
Maybe
you, Q?
my engine will be done in the next 100 episodes, too.
Get on it, Mike. Come on.
And with that...
I'm so hopeful, Mike.
Me too.
With that, we will conclude this episode. So thanks for tuning in. For Kelly Ostie and Mike Huball Clark, I'm Kevin Ostie. This is V8 Radio reminding you to subscribe to tune in to the next 100 of V8 Radio.